Tonight, in this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television, enormous material damage has been recorded and some individuals injured after scores of youths in Kangyabasi, that is here in the country's economic capital, Douala, stormed the streets today. A piece of land is actually the bone of contention. We'll tell you more on that in just a moment. Also ahead, the Cameroun Development Corporation, the CDC, is still being hampered by the devastating consequences of the Anglophone crisis. In this newscast, we'll tell you how dozens of workers took to the streets today. That was in Tico, in Fako division of the southwest region of the country. Plus, we are 1 week to the Feast of Nativity in Cameroun and to the world at large, but the Christmas fever is still absent in several localities where parents and family heads are complaining of financial handicap. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. We thank you so much for joining us in this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. Let's begin right away in the economic capital, Douala. Kangyabasi to be more precise, was boiling to the intention security forces had to use tear gas to disperse a crowd of angry youths who were protesting against the demolition of their houses. The order was given by the divisional officer for the Douala 2 subdivision after an individual was claiming that he is owning the piece of land that the people have been occupying for several years now. Several police vehicles were equally set ablaze as a result of the protest demonstration. Details with Mfomi Armstrong Sander.
This is the bulldozer and trailers set ablaze by angry and uncontrollable youths of Kangyabasi in Douala 2 subdivision. The engines were brought in by agents of a man who has been claiming ownership of some 13 hectares of land to destroy houses planted on the land he calls his. The demolition attempts, guided by elements of the National Gendarmerie and the police, alongside the division officer for Douala 2 subdivision, met a stiff resistance from the angry population. They say claims laid by the unknown man on the place some call their village are false.
La borne que vous voyez là, elle est fausse.
Nous, on ne le rencontre même pas, on voit seulement les groupes de gens venir de tous les jours. Ils montrent les limites, ils montrent les limites, ils montrent les limites.
Others say the only piece of land in Kangyabasi which was illegally occupied had been cleared by the unknown man and his agents on the first 2 demolition exercises carried out in their neighborhood less than 2 weeks ago.
On lui a laissé les planches, il a cassé. Aujourd'hui, il décide de détruire tout un quartier de près de 13 hectares de terrain. Mais vous-même, donc celui qui a l'argent, dans ce pays, le pauvre doit seulement mourir.
Plank dealers in Kangyabasi were chased out of the land on which they have been doing business for about 15 years in the first demolition exercise. The second attempt destroyed some residential and commercial buildings before today's attempt to send several families packing.
Le chef du quartier n'a jamais appelé sa population pour causer par rapport à ce problème. Jamais de la vie.
Maintenant, je peux faire arriver aujourd'hui. Il nous manque, il n'était pas au courant alors que c'est lui qui était là.
Some inhabitants accuse the quarterhead and the division officer for Douala 2 subdivision of collecting bribe and conspiring with a wealthy man, respectively, to grab their land.
And just to note at that report there that the security forces were simply respecting or executing orders from the senior divisional officer for Vori. It was not the first time that a demolition exercise was being carried out in that part of the country's economic capital, Douala. Now, workers of the Cameroun Development Corporation, the CDC, actually downed their tools today of unpaid salaries. They are on strike, demanding for over 7 months of unpaid salaries. The CDC is one of the enterprises severely affected affected by the socio-political crisis in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon. As we saw earlier on their placards, the grumbling workers that took to the streets today precisely at Likumba, that is in Tiko subdivision of Fako in the southwest region of the country, were displaying their placards, and they were indicating that they have not been able to take care of their families and send their children to school. They said that to take care of their families as well has been a daily challenge. It is not the first time that the workers are going on rampage. Thousands of jobs, it should be noted, have so far been affected within the Cameroon Development Corporation since the crisis escalated. That was in 2016. In the second part of this newscast, we shall be looking at the economic impact of the crisis. Now, the euro has not been a bed of roses for councils or municipalities across the northwest and the southwest regions of the country. Councils in Limbe were not spared as ghost towns, security threats, as well as school boycotts greatly affected the day-to-day running of council activities. Council budgets have been increased for the year 2019. But of what impact would it be? Davison Maimo tells us more from Limbe. His report.
There is no gainsaying that the Anglophone crisis for 2 years running is having an adverse effect to the economy of the two regions, the northwest and the southwest regions. The burning down and looting of shops, market, the ghost town phenomenon, just to mention these few, are glaring examples. All these have greatly affected revenue collection from the taxation department to the councils. In Limbe, all three subdivisional councils, that is the Limbe 1, 2 and 3 councils, declared during the ordinary session to vote budget for their respective councils in 2019 how the crisis has greatly affected their councils. Duncan Molindo is the mayor to the Limbe 2 council.
We've not had it easy at all because, in fact, collecting revenue, and it was so limited. The sources were almost closed because of people were not around and people were running up and down. So we've had it very, very rough. And that is one of the things that made us not to accomplish our plan of action to fullest.
Mayor Seket Diboti Luma of Limbe 3 Council used the occasion calling on the population to pray for peace to reign within his municipality.
Best practices in all spheres and disregarding all forms of negative behavior that may hamper our growth.
On his part, Ronimbua Mukako of Limbe 1 Council said the councils are helpless.
You know that we are in the southwest region and the problems of last year, everybody knows them. It's insecurity, businesses are not open, so it is so difficult for me to say I can take measures to improve upon them. But if the population wanted to go, as I said, that we should dream where nobody dreams. We should go where nobody there goes. If we do that all together, I'm sure we'll get there.
The 3 subdivisional councils in Limbe, nonetheless, took the commitment to continue with the drive of embellishing Limbe, especially in the domain of road, provision of potable water, and hygiene and sanitation. All 3 councils witnessed an increase in their budget for 2019 due to carried over budget for 2018 and 100 million CFA francs put at their disposal by the Ministry of Decentralization.
The economic atmosphere is practically unstable across the national territory. We are a few days to Christmas celebration. The time to celebrate one of the most important Christmas feasts is here, but many of those involved in celebrations are complaining of financial constraints across the national territory. We now take you to Sangmelema. That is a locality in Ja and Elobo division of the southwest region, or the south region rather, where the Christmas fever is yet to be felt. Turnout in markets still remains timid. This year compared to the situation that prevailed in 2017, this same period. Details in the following report. Fred Ekoto's dream of owning a bicycle has finally become a reality. His parents surprised him with the gift he has been longing for few days to Christmas celebration. Not all the kids, however, have been able to receive a present from their parents. Trebo, as she explains, can only tour the Sangmelema markets for sightseeing. She says that her parents are yet to offer her a tour and she is not losing hope. Parents in this chief town of Nja and Elobo division of the South region are complaining of financial difficulties.
Je n'ai pas encore les moyens. C'est encore dur. Mais je sais que Dieu va me donner les moyens.
She says that things are tougher this year than what prevailed in 2017 when they were preparing for the Feast of Nativity.
Et chacun doit faire la propreté à son endroit. Parce que si on ne fait pas la propreté, le Saint-Esprit ne peut pas entrer dans nos maisons.
She is just keeping the compound clean while waiting for the return of the usual Christmas fever days to the feast. In the market, traders bear the burden more. Christmas trees, toys, shoes and other items and accessories have already inundated the market, but customers are few. Traders and inhabitants of Sang Melima say that they are yet to witness the effervescence which characterize this period of the year. And could it be that things are tougher because sellers have decided to make more profit by increasing prices? Very few parents here in the country's economic capital, Douala, have so far afforded Christmas gifts for their children, though the feast is fast approaching, as we saw in the report that just ended. Vendors say that a majority of those who come to buy are complaining about price hikes. Innocent as it tells us more in the following report.
Less than a week, Cameroonians will be celebrating Christmas. Parents consider it a special day for kids. Reason why they flood markets to afford different gifts or toys to keep them happy. Others prefer dolls for their children because of their affordability. This parent says he did not allow his children accompany him for fear they would like and want everything to be bought for them.
Bon, en fait, ils ont déjà commencé à jouer parce que je n'ai pas gardé.
J'ai 3 enfants.
This other has 3 children and needs to satisfy them accordingly with durable and presentable toys, despite the high cost.
Un truc comme les ustensiles de cuisine. Trop cher, trop cher, trop cher.
Another parent buys depending on how much she has, hoping her kids will like the gifts.
Bon, ça m'a beaucoup intéressé, mais je me limite à mes moyens.
Vendors do sell a variety of toys. They advise parents to not only buy fun toys, but educative ones like piano, computers, and many others that will help boost the child's intelligence. Some of these business individuals have made us understand many children are yet to get gifts from their parents or guardians for festivity.
Toutes les femmes qui viennent ici pleurent seulement. Il n'y a pas d'argent, il n'y a pas d'argent.
This as very few parents come around to inquire cost of toys, though the Christmas feast is already near.
How are residents here in the country's economic capital, Douala, viewing the city at night, few days to Christmas celebrations? It should be noted that our reporters toured some major streets and here in the city of Douala, several localities in the city are yet to be decorated. That is the observation that was met by Simanjika Gabriel. He tells us more in this report.
Some days to the celebration of the end of year festivities, the town of Douala is yet to get a new face value in terms of its decoration.
Si vous prenez le tronçon,
if you take the Deux Églises Ndokoti Road, there is nothing. The Rue Roger Miller, unbelievable, no electricity. Nothing shows we are heading towards the end of year celebrations.
Rien ne montre que nous tirons vers les fêtes de fin d'année.
From the Boulevard de la Liberté to Rond-Point d'Eido, passing through Kumasi, Bonapriso, Mobile Njonjo, Bali, no difference from the other areas as all decorations are not even spotted and visibility is almost difficult.
Nous sommes au centre culturel français.
We are at the French Cultural Center and it's not even lighted. Worst of it, no decorative lights like in Yaoundé. As you get into Yaoundé, you get a feeling of the festive mood.
Le goût de la fête.
However, the installation works ongoing at Trois More neighborhoods gives hope that timidly the town of Douala will have a changed face in the days ahead. If at certain areas like Grand Moulin, decorations are visible but not lighted, the government esplanade in Bonanjo, Boulevard de la République, Carrefour Agip or at Vallée Bessengue, decorations are visible and well lighted, displaying varied colors. The colorful decorations, however, doesn't move some inhabitants. These decorations means nothing to me because normally they are supposed to repair the roads even before decorating. It is a disappointment at one hand and satisfaction at the other end as the inhabitants of Douala continue to warm up towards the end of year festivities.
And that is the economic capital Douala ahead of the 25th of December, the Feast of Nativity celebration. Now, the newly appointed Director General of the National School of Administration and Magistracy, NGWANYAM, Bertrand Pierre Sombo Angoula, and assistant are a day old in office after their installation Monday, that was yesterday in the nation's capital. He was told to upgrade the standard of what the Minister of Public Service and Administrative Reforms, Minister Joseph Lee, described as one of the most prominent institutions in Cameroun. Immaculate Fogwe tells us more in the following story.
For the first time in the history of the National Advanced School of Administration and Magistracy, NGWANYAM, a less than 35-year-old graduate from the said institution is appointed Director General. Bertrand Pierre Sombo Angoula is coming to replace Linus Toussaint Menjana, whose conspicuous absence was observed during the inaugural ceremony chaired by the Minister of Public Service and Administrative Reforms, Joseph Lee.
Je vois davantage le directeur général adjoint sortant. Nous espérons que le directeur général va arriver dans les prochaines minutes.
His absence reportedly followed the alleged refusal of him having access into his office earlier Monday. This allegation is, however, not official. The 32-year-old Bertrand Pierre Sombo Angoula is taking over an institution plagued with plethora of problems. He was told to work in close collaboration with his team and the Public Service Ministry in upgrading the standard of NGWANYAM.
Que les jeunes qui croient se mettent au travail. Que les futurs candidats se mettent au travail.
The newly elected Director General also called on potential candidates into NGWANYAM to work hard in order to secure their entry. Speaking to the press, the new Director General said he is up to the task.
And that brings us to the end of this first segment of the news. Time for us to meet our guest. We shall be right back. Stay with us. Once again, good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. We said earlier that we are going to be looking at the economic impact of the Anglophone crisis. We saw the strike action of workers of the Cameroun Development Corporation that was today. We are being joined by an educationist, Dr. NGWANYAM. Good evening to you. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us tonight once again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tonight we'll be looking at the economic impact, of course, but before we come to that, we just saw the report by Immaculate Fogwe talking about the installation ceremony of the new Director General at the Advanced School of Administration and Magistracy, NGWANYAM, in the absence of the former. But the point of interest now is the age of the new Director General, which has been the bone of contention ever since the appointment was announced. He's 32 years old. Many say that is a welcomed initiative. Others say that he's very, very young. What do you have to say, Doctor?
I think we have a problem in this country where we don't look at what matters. And, you know, for some people, we say they are too old. Mm-hmm. And when we are giving young candidates, we say they are too young. So nobody knows the right age for anything. But we are looking at the wrong parameter. The right parameters we should be looking at, we should be asking ourselves a question. This young man, does he have what it takes in terms of character and savoir-faire to lead that?
But you are an educationist. You should know whether he has that capability.
No, I don't know
you
him.
Can't tell.
I don't know whether he did well at school. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether he was passing his exams properly, because in Cameroon there's a lot of, you know what I mean, in schools. You know, this for marks
fraud,
and this for that, fraud. Certainly. And so on. So did he, I mean, if he had gone to school normally, studied and was one of the good students and has a good character and knows what it takes to create and recreate things, fine. But if he just went through the system and didn't really get molded and didn't develop the capacities, then we are in for a rough deal. But if he actually build the capacities, I mean, I'm kind of like just talking because I don't know him. Even if you put him in front, I can't identify him. So I'm just hoping that he went to school properly, that he studied properly, he didn't cut corners, and that his character is good. And because we need someone with a good character in that environment, because as you know, I mean, I heard, I'm not so sure, that to get in that place, you know, they were, depending on which level you wanted to go to and what you wanted to do, there was some fixed price that you had to pay. That's something that needs to be looked into.
That is a general problem.
Yes, a general problem.
By Cameroonians.
That's right. But going into this,
exactly.
What do you call this, grounds they call, as they call it, was becoming very tricky. But, you know, if you go and look at the profiles of the people, of the students who are in NGWANYAM right now, and do a statistical analysis, you will realize that the children of the poor are not there. And you would find out there, I mean, the children of the rich are disproportionately represented in the institution. If we say that 20% of the Cameroonian population is of upper class, and we have 80% of the commoner, if we go into that institution and study, we'll realize that 80% are coming from the 20% of the upper class, and then 20% are coming.
Do you think there is a problem of meritocracy?
Yeah, there's a problem of meritocracy. It's written nowhere that only the students, the children of only the children of coming out of rich families are intelligent enough to go to NGWANYAM. It's the same thing for Qs, for all the big schools and so on. So what we are saying for NGWANYAM holds the same for all those big schools. There is something wrong in the way we choose candidates to go into those schools.
An indication that the school of thought that believe that he doesn't have his place to, or he's not supposed to be appointed Director General.
No, first,
right? Is that what you're saying?
First things first, I just hope that when he went to NGWANYAM, he entered through the right door, and that he is good material. But because if he is good material, he would insist that merit is respected.
Pride of place.
Yes, but if he came through the window, then he doesn't have any idea what merit is.
If you were the president of the Republic of Cameroon, just like for instance, somebody leaves NGWANYAM 2 years after, would you appoint him Director General of the institution?
The president knows why he appointed him. Might be the president notices in him something that he wants to bring to the fore. First of course, the president wanted somebody who is young. But the question, as you are putting it, as many people put it, he's just been on the field for 2 years. Has he mastered what it takes to actually do the job? We don't know. But if I were the president, even if I were the president now, because I have noticed a couple of things though with most of our people coming from these big schools and so on. You know, I have always been playing this thing in my mind. Let's suppose that we go to one of the big amphitheaters in the University of Yaoundé 1, and we get all our sous-prefects, all our prefects, all our governors, and all of them who are directors, and put them there and give each of them a computer and a printer. The question is, can they actually generate a document on their own, print it in a good form and deliver? Can they go on the internet, search for things and put them together and deliver? We need to dig into a lot, because there's a lot that is happening, and we just celebrate posts, we just celebrate things, but we are not effective.
And that brings to light what you've always been highlighting about reforming the educational system in Cameroon. Doctor, because of time constraints, we are going to move right away to talk about the economic impact of the Anglophone crisis. Council officials have held sessions talking about how the crisis has so far affected them. We saw the CDC, the Cameroon Development Corporation, workers on strike actually today. Tell us, what do you think could be the long-run impact of the crisis on the economy of Cameroon?
We can rephrase the whole thing, and we can talk about economy and peace. Okay, the economy and peace. What you are seeing in the CDC is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, we also noticed that there was a problem in Yabasi market.
Sure, certainly.
Yabasi market.
About land title dispute.
That's correct. There are pockets of problems everywhere, and where there is a problem, where there's a problem, the underlying thing, you will see that there's some economics. Okay, there's something wrong with the economics. Money is not circulating. Things, people are being pushed to the wall. So there's an issue of economics and peace. And when the economics is going down, the peace will go down. And you also notice in France, a few days ago, a week or two ago, there was a lot of burning and breakages and people attacking police people and so on. And the good thing is that their president, President Macron, came out to speak to the nation. And what he said about France is also true of Cameroon. Because we are all human beings, not because they are France and they are white people. No, what he was saying there is exactly the same thing that is going on here. And we need to wake up. And you know, the French are supposed to be our master, so to speak. They tell us what to do. And President Macron was saying that France, that we think is a god, their educational system is not good, their economy is not good, they are being overtaken by Asians and they need to sell more, they need to produce more and so on. They are screaming and crying out there and we are sleeping here. So our economy is not good. And with the Anglophone crisis, you know, those sources of income have been tampered with. You know, you could see I saw on WhatsApp the banana plantations in the southwest. You know, they've been left in the bush, so the bananas are rotting out there. All the farms. You know, what is happening there is also happening.
And many are equally losing their jobs.
Yes.
On daily basis.
What was happening there in the CDC is happening in our villages, in the farms. The women and the men can no longer go to the farms because everybody is harassing everybody, and you know, so there is this thing that is not going on very well. And I just checked with the banks in Bamenda. You know, the turnover in the banks in the Bamenda compared to 2015 thereabouts.
It's extremely slow.
Yes, it's dropped to about 50%. All right, and the other day you'll be surprised. I went to buy Gary at Amumezam Park to send to my family here in Douala, and the bucket of Gary was more expensive than rice. And you know, I couldn't understand that.
How do you see the situation, the economic situation in the long run?
If we don't do something, if we don't do something very quickly, because when this bloody thing started in the Anglophone sectors, it was like regardless Anglophone. No. When you, I mean, Mimi, if you have a problem with your eye, the whole body is sick. And until we get to understand that if the Anglophones don't have peace, the whole country will not have peace. I wish somebody could understand that, because the Anglophone regions used to generate a lot of wealth as well. And when you don't have that wealth coming into the nation, then something is going to happen. So technically, the country is not generating as much wealth and opportunities as we need to. So even the little that we had there is dwindling, and therefore we are going to be faced with a lot of problems. A moment ago, I just heard, you know, someone complaining about street lighting in Douala. There are no Christmas decorations. Of course, those street lightings and Christmas decorations, you need money. And I also read on WhatsApp a letter purportedly coming from E.S. Sonel to say that the Douala City Council is owing them so many billions. The City Council is owing them so many billions. Government offices are owing them so many billions. If we don't sit down and put our acts together and correct our economy, there will be no peace.
But the government has been taking series of measures. Recently, some 289 people were released from the Kondengi maximum prison, the west, the southwest, the northwest, and even in the littoral region, those that were affected in connection with the crisis.
Well, when we are talking about real peace here, you need to really sit down and get the whole thing right. Okay, it's not the piecemeal kind of thing, and we are looking at all those measures that will come together in one package and crank that machine, the peace machine up.
So do you mean it's just a cosmetic measures, as some critics will put it?
It's not a cosmetic measure, but the weight. You know, you need a critical mass, something to actually turn something. All right. If you don't have that critical mass, it doesn't matter how you've been to the market where you buy meat, right? And the butcher puts the weight here and the meat over here. You need to, if you have the weight here and you're putting the meat over here, piecemeal, you need to stay a long time piling it until you get the critical mass for the thing to turn. So if you have not put things enough on this side to get the critical mass to undo this, it will take a long time. So
what can be done, Doctor? What do you think could really be done? What
can be done is, you know, facing the music. Because if we had faced the music a long time ago, we would not be where we are. You know, solving the problems, like the adage says, a stitch in time saves 9. If we had been doing that, we would not be where we are. And if people had been telling the president the right thing, because the president sometimes he takes decisions, you know, based on the information that comes to him, and if he is fed the wrong
stuff. So he's not aware of the situation, is that what you are saying? Well, the head of state is not aware of the situation in the two Anglophone regions.
We need to do a study to find out whether he is aware of most of the things, because, you know, like when you had this problem with the AFCON, you know, it turned out that it looks like people were not feeding the president the right stuff. So he himself just woke up like all of us to realize that we were not ready. So sometimes we begin to, you know, from extrapolation, we begin to wonder whether he actually knows the truth.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us tonight on Talking Point. We hope to have you some other time again.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
We're always around. Thank you.
To our viewers, it was equally a pleasure having with us in this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Wishing you a blessed stay in the company of our programs until we meet again. Goodbye.